welcome to another episode of the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Let us be the Crispy Noodle in your vegetarian salad of life and boring news. Folks, it's our job to give you some interesting news in the world of sports, entertainment, and odd news, and anything else we happen to stumble across in this hour-long or so podcast. Let us be the Crispy Noodle in your vegetarian salad of life and boring news. Before we get to all of the topics that we have to get to on hand, Mikey, how you doing? Do you have any positive memories before we get into
positive memories? This is like an God, it's about to get so grim.
The sports sampler is not going to be a fun one. I feel like.
It is not.
So get your good feelings out right now. Do you have any good memories?
Yes, I do actually.
Besides your Reese's peanut butter T-shirt,
Reese's peanut butter,
which is
of course
pretty good
from Hershey. Yeah, my favorite candy by far. But that's a separate topic. That could be a whole
I have
podcast.
a question for you.
Okay.
We're doing this live on the show.
Yeah.
Because before we recorded, you had a whole bunch of cheeses laid out. You're
Yes.
a big cheese guy.
100%.
But you're also a big candy guy.
Yes.
So if you had to choose cheese or candy?
Both.
No, you had to.
No, wait. Let me say. I was at Amada in Center City 2 years ago, and they did a goat cheese with a hazelnut chocolate spread. You can put both together, and it's delicious. But if I had to choose one, I think, sadly, it would be cheese. It's more versatile than candy.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
You can put cheese on a pasta, on a pizza, on a sandwich. You can have it on its own. Like you can't make like a candy lasagna. Like just
no.
You can make a cheese lasagna.
That sounds like something Epic Mealtime would have done 10 years ago.
Yes. Are they okay?
No, they're dead. The channel's dead.
Just judging by the way they made food.
The YouTube channel's dead, unfortunately.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Sauce.
I still am the sauce boss over here.
Yeah.
I want sauce.
I know you love your sauces.
Yeah, thank you.
That is a blast from the past.
Yeah.
But speaking of other blasts from the past, I also this week finished Astrobot. So I talked last week about playing Astrobot. Yep. It's a nice little short game. Like it's not terribly long. I got the platinum trophy, 100%, did everything. I think my playtime, according to the PlayStation, was something like 20 hours. So it's not too bad if you want to see and do absolutely everything. And if you just want to like mainline the levels, you could probably do it in like 10 to 12 easily. And I like really struggled on some of like the special hidden levels. My eye-hand coordination just isn't what it used to be back in the Sonic the Hedgehog days. What can I say?
Yeah.
So there's probably a little bit of extra time tacked on for that. But just like it was so incredible, the celebration of all things PlayStation. And as somebody who's been a PlayStation gamer since the PlayStation 1 days and has had every console except the PlayStation Vita, it was really cool seeing all of those franchises represented in little like cartoony form. And without spoiling anything, at certain points during the game, you like get special abilities based on different key PlayStation franchises. There's like whole levels devoted to those specific franchises. So it's just a very feel good, very solidly built classic platformer. You're going from level to level, you're collecting a bunch of stuff, you're jumping through obstacles, fighting baddies, finding hidden Easter eggs and stuff. It's just very, very cathartic to play a game like that in the 21st century, separate from the big, huge AAA blockbusters.
Yeah.
But this one still, nice. This one still has that super, super high quality though. It's not skimping on that just by being a smaller game. So I did that. Also got a chance to go to Virginia this past weekend to visit some friends. And the big thing in Virginia is wineries. So we did some wineries. We had some cheese. We just talked about cheese.
This is where you got the cheese
Bought
from.
a lot of cheese. I went to a winery that, when ordering the charcuterie stuff, cheese and meat, they gave entire blocks of cheese, like a pound of cheese. Like it was like.
Did you end up in Green Bay by any chance?
It felt like that. Like I'm like, okay, I'll get 2 types of cheese and some prosciutto, and they gave me like literally the equivalent of 2 pounds of cheese. I'm like, what am I going to do with this?
You're going to eat it.
Yes, unfortunately, I ate about 60% of it by myself.
You are not leaving this table.
No,
until you finish the cheese.
We're recording this Tuesday. I am mostly cheese at this point.
Very good.
So that's how my weekend went. It was mostly just cheese. What about you, Rich? Any positivity there in terms of cheese or video games?
Yeah. So we went to the Renaissance Fair over the weekend.
Did you get your Scotch eggs?
Yes, I did.
Legs and eggs?
Yeah, legs and eggs.
Oh man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I saw a post. I forget if it was you or Rachel that
It
put
was
it.
probably Rachel.
And I was like, Jordan, we gotta go. And she's like, why do you want to go so bad? I'm like, for the turkey legs. She's like, you want to go to the Ren Fair for just the turkey legs? I was like, yeah. So,
well, legs and eggs. Those are the best things to do in my opinion at the Renaissance Fair.
yeah,
But Rachel she always loves going there every year.
it's fun. It's a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah, she did the archery stuff. And,
Nice.
she gets to live out her fantasy dreams. With being at the Renaissance Fair. But I got to tell you, man, it's getting more and more popular every year.
Was it like a crazy crowd there?
We tried to beat the traffic. We tried to get there at like 10:30, and maybe we were closer to 11. It was already mobbed. Like
Wow.
the exit
Yeah.
where you get off from.
Yep.
If we had waited another 15 minutes, they were going to direct us to get off at the exit beforehand.
Wow.
They were already going to start shutting down that exit.
That's insane. So I've only been once, the one time that we all went together, and I know exactly the exit you're talking about. It starts backing up onto the turnpike.
Yeah.
Like it's
very bad.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, if we had waited another 15 or 20 minutes, we would have been forced off at the previous exit and then had to try and inch your way down further.
Oh man.
So, boy, the best thing I can tell you is try and get there as early as you can.
Is this one of those things where it's starting to like outgrow its location and like its confines?
So. I don't think so because they always have.
They still have enough room like inside the actual place. Okay.
Yeah, they always have enough for parking and stuff like that. That's usually never an issue. It's just
getting
there.
Getting there, yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it
is. The infrastructure, the roads just aren't designed for that many people. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it still was a good time. Got my legs and eggs.
Nice.
But yeah, it was and everybody comes out with these costumes and stuff. Which, by the way, I saw 2 Baldur's Gate costumes.
Nice. I was gonna ask, like, does it hit different now that you're like fully invested in the fantasy world?
Well,
more than you've been.
Yeah, I guess more than I've been is true. But I mean, I don't know if I would still say I'm like a fan. I don't think I'm a big fantasy fan.
Yeah,
I'm more sci-fi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your extent of fantasy likedom is Harry Potter and Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. I'd never see you reading like a fantasy novel or like watching like The Magicians or something like that.
Yeah, I don't really go down that far.
Yeah,
but it still doesn't mean you can't have fun though, because you still go there, you have fun, you. Oh, and I lucked out too on the weather too. It was like a nice cloudy, overcast day, 60 degrees.
Not in Virginia.
Yeah,
it was 85 degrees and 80% humidity. So I'm glad you guys had nice weather.
Yeah,
because it's all outdoors.
Yeah, it is. Speaking of weather, you know what? Who else had a bad weather experience?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Who?
Our own Philadelphia Eagles, because playing in Tampa Bay, it was 93 degrees, and the heat index was like 105.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I think it's finally time to let's just tackle it. We need to jump right into it. It's time for the sports sampler.
So you're not good at sports. It's a very small part of life.
Sports.
In your face. Ha ha!
The evidence has been falsified.
Whoops, wrong one. I was supposed to.
I mean, do
yeah, you know what? Actually, that is appropriate.
The evidence has been falsified.
Yeah, is this team falsified with the Eagles? Because this was such a letdown. The final score was 33-16, but it felt much more depleted than that. At one point, they were down 24-0.
And that was before half.
The first half of this game was one of the most ugliest halves I've ever seen from a Philadelphia Eagles football team. They just couldn't stop Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield looks like Tom Brady against us for some reason.
He was having like an almost perfect game.
He always has good games against us. I don't know what is in his blood or something, but just he cranks it up. to another level whenever he faces off against the Eagles.
I was on the road coming back from Virginia while they were playing the first half of that game. And, I'm following the stats on my phone, and I turn to Jordan. I go, you don't understand. This man is having a literal perfect day at quarterback.
Yes.
Like, at one point, he had only missed one pass.
Yep.
He had, like, over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. I'm like, he's literally, like, as good a game as you can have at quarter. Like, statistically, you can't get better.
Yep. From what I've read from the Inquirer and other sports analysts, they said that Vic Fangio's strategy was to not give up the big play to Mike Evans, which resulted in everything else just being given up. So, sure, what a strategy.
It's so unbelievably frustrating because last year the biggest complaint was obviously that defense and how much they gave up underneath, and the talk in the offseason was, well, we've had Fangio disciples, but we've never had the man himself. So the thinking goes that Vic Fangio will be able to run his defense better than his disciples. Well, it turns out that he can't. I think it's just a very, very short-sighted, outdated concept. In an era when I read a whole article, like something we were just talking about how offenses have been kind of like plateauing recently and like the reinvention of defense. In an era where defenses are getting better and offenses are starting to slow down, for some reason we didn't get that memo. Teams play us and they're like, oh, cool, we can do whatever we want.
Yeah. This was embarrassing on all levels. The defense, obviously talking about that, but I know they didn't have A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, and I know that hurts, and I know that sucks, and that's not part of the game plan.
Not an excuse.
But that's not an excuse.
No.
The other 31 teams have injuries as well.
Not only that, but they don't have a top 5 offensive line, a top 5 running back. No, not a top 5. The league's rushing leader.
Heading into week 4, yeah. Yep.
A top 5 offensive line, I think the second heaviest offensive line, and also a top 10 tight end in Dallas Goedert. And then at wide receiver, we have former first-round pick Dotson.
Yep.
Okay, so we do have other pieces. And when you have injuries, you game plan around what you do have. Why then was Saquon Barkley hardly featured at all? I understand you get down quick, so you're forced to pass. But, I mean, maybe one of the things you could have done early on, instead of having 3 straight 3-and-outs, was hand the ball off a little bit more.
Yeah. I need to ask. Somebody needs to ask inside this Eagles organization. Why do you guys not run the ball on first down?
It is so unbelievably frustrating.
Why? Just have Saquon Barkley, give him a handoff, and even if he gets 3 yards, at least it's 2nd and 7.
Yeah.
That at least makes it better than 2nd and 10
right.
and 3rd and 10. Like, I don't understand. Why is that always a thing? They never run on first down.
Never.
It is getting to ridiculous levels of absurdity with that. And I think that's a Sirianni thing, because that was something from last season.
Yeah.
So it can't be the coordinators.
No, it can't be the coordinators. It's certainly not because we don't have a good running back, because we currently have one of, if not the best running back. At least heading into week 4 we did.
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this team.
How short is the leash now for Nick Sirianni?
You have to imagine it's pretty short.
Yeah.
So obviously 2021, he's a rookie head coach. You're not going to do anything. 2022 makes the Super Bowl. Awesome. That gives him length, right? 2023 comes out, hot start, absolute, utterly ridiculous collapse. You can't fire him. It's one season after the Super Bowl. This year, this is where you see the leash start to tighten.
Yeah.
I think that the NFL usually runs on like a 5-year kind of plan situation, and this is year 4 out of those 5 years. I mean, what are the odds he's going to fix it? Like that's the question that's been lingering on my mind, because you made the point heading into, I think it was week 2. You're like, don't worry, it's only been, or week 3, you said, don't worry, it's only been 2 weeks, but it's not 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's 19 weeks that we've been having. You got to go all the way back to like the early part of last season where you're like, boy, the things they're doing are a little suspect. We've been experiencing that for, what is it now? 21 weeks.
Yeah.
You know,
And it
it's not 4 weeks. It's 21 weeks when you look at last year.
And it hasn't been fixed.
No. And we've had different coordinators. Apparently, we've had different play calling and strategy, but it's just still the same problems. We have too talented of a team to face these types of issues.
Yes. And Nick Sirianni was a wide receivers coach, so his expertise is supposed to be the offense.
You'd think.
You have the only team in the NFL that has not scored in the first quarter.
Yeah.
What is going on?
You can't get behind like that and expect to have a balanced game plan.
I could understand if the defense was the only issue. Because all right, well, then you're not from the defensive side of the ball.
Right.
You need, okay. But this is supposed to be your expertise, and it's not getting the job done.
Right. And like we both said, I understand there's injuries, but you saw Dallas Goedert go off last week. You still have Saquon Barkley. Like there are options. And I don't want to hear the weather was a factor. Yes, of course
Yeah.
the weather is a factor, but you still have to come prepared to play. Like regardless of your environment, you still have to come prepared to play. And there's a lack of unpreparedness, right? Like I understand like if the weather's a factor and you end up losing a tight game, or maybe that's the edge that gives them an extra touchdown or two. But this team was up 24-0 at one point. That's not weather. That's just sucking.
Yeah, that's not trying.
Yeah.
This defense straight up didn't try in the second quarter, first and second quarter of this game.
Weather gives you maybe a touchdown. Team comes into Philadelphia in January. Yeah, that's tough. But you can't be like, oh, don't worry, we have snow.
Yeah.
Like
This
no.
defense missed tackles. This defense had poor coverage assignments. And then the offense on the other side of the ball just didn't connect. Just they weren't in sync. It's just everything went wrong. Like last week I said the Buccaneers were going to win this game because Baker Mayfield has a good record. But I said the manner in which they lose was going to be the ultimate factor. Wow.
Yeah.
You showed me on that one because you zapped all faith I had in this team in 2024.
So we got to go back to the classic question that we talked about 2 weeks ago. Where's your hand in relation to the panic button?
I think it's on it.
It's fully on it now.
This is bad.
So 2 weeks ago you said I am staying the hand.
This was one of the worst showings I've ever seen from a Philadelphia Eagles squad.
It was really bad.
And
I want people to understand, 33-16 is not correct.
Right. It should have been 33-3 or something.
Because honestly, when you get a big lead like that, you dial it back.
Yeah,
right?
you start playing soft.
You start playing soft, and like you always talk about like garbage time, like. So it should have been even worse. And if you didn't have the freak blocked extra point return for 2 points, it would have been only 14.
Yeah.
So there's elements to it that are frustrating. They're like, well, maybe you could look at that number and be like, okay, it wasn't too bad of a blowout. No, I think it was really bad.
It
could have been worse.
I will say this is a hell of a game to go into a bye week on.
I've never wanted an early bye week so badly.
Yeah, boy. When we first looked at the season schedule, we thought, oh, that's an early bye week. That's going to hurt them. No, this is the perfect time for a bye week because they got to get their stuff together.
They got their asses whooped. They are injured. They are misaligned. They're miscommunicating. The drama is just starting to unfold. I don't know if you saw the minor drama with Darius Slay, one of Micah Parsons' podcasts, and talked about Gardner Johnson giving up touchdown passes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to make more of it than it is. These guys, it's a job to them. They're all buddies off the field, but it's a bad look. It creates unnecessary drama. This is a team that lacks discipline and cohesion, and that flows from the top down.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think Nick Sirianni's fire is lit on under his ass right now. I don't think he's gonna
Do
last.
you think they pull him mid-season?
They could. You have Kellen Moore.
Like, how bad do you need this team to be for them to... Like, at what point, you're Jeffrey Lurie, like, what's the win-loss columns look like before you go, you're done?
Probably somewhere in that stretch of week 10, 11, 12. They have a really tough stretch where they got to play 2 division games in 4 days.
Yeah.
If both of those come out and they're flat like this Buccaneers game, I think that's when you pull them.
I think he lasts until he gets to 10 losses.
Double digits.
Like, at some point in this year, if he hits the 10-loss mark, Lurie's going to be pissed.
Yeah.
Because Lurie's become one of the most wealthy and powerful owners, not by putting up teams that post losing records. Like in my lifetime, we've only done it like a handful of times,
Yeah.
if that.
So yeah, it's not looking good
No.
for the Philadelphia Eagles. But luckily they have the bye week. Hopefully that gives them some time to just take a breath, heal, and try and sort things out. Because if not, yeah, this is going to be a long season coming up here. Since we started in football, I'm jumping around our schedule here. You want to just jump right into Fantastic Four picks and get that out of the way as well?
Yeah, let's do that now.
Yep. All right. So here we go. We got 4 games for you to keep an eye out for week 5 of the NFL season. And there's the music. All right, Mikey, what are the games?
Well, first up, we have a Thursday night division rivalry. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are traveling to Atlanta to face off against the Falcons. This division is a little tighter than I think we initially gave it credit for, which is why we're highlighting this game. Both these teams showing that they do have the ability to hang with opponents, but who has the edge in their own division? Rich, who do you like in this one?
Yeah, this has been interesting. I feel like this is the 3rd or 4th division game on Thursday Night Football. I don't know if that was a strategy when creating the schedule this year.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah. All right, so I like this spot for the Falcons, actually. I know that's going to hurt you as a Kirk Cousins fan. But in terms of just some of the things going into this game, the Buccaneers are looking incredible after stomping the Eagles. But I kind of think that was more the Eagles just sucked more than the Buccaneers are that good. You know what I mean? So
Could be, yeah.
They've got hype, massive hype going for them into this game. So they're at a sell-high point right now. The Falcons are coming off of a loss. I think that's a good time to buy low on the Falcons. Matter of fact, I believe this is a toss-up on sports books. That this is, you pretty much can just get even money. You don't have to worry about paying the VIG or anything on this. And away teams having the ability to come home, having the ability to be home, and then you have to go on the road. You lose a day of travel. That is known to affect teams going into this Thursday night game. I think the factors are lining up for the Falcons here. You get a pretty good betting opportunity on most sports books. You get the Buccaneers that are very hyped, and they're going to be coming on the road on 3 days of practice instead of 4. I think the Falcons are a good bet here. I like this game here for them.
You make a very compelling argument. I mean, certainly the Buccaneers having to go and travel on a short week is definitely going to be something that impacts them. Maybe this is recency bias, but I still like the Buccaneers, even given that. They've beaten some good opponents, the Lions, the Commanders. They're showing that they have what it takes. I mean, offensively, they got good weapons. I think they're a little bit more proven than the Atlanta Falcons right now. So I'm going to go with the safe bet and go with the Buccaneers, even though I think it will be a very close game. And I think that, everything you said definitely makes sense. But my gut just says Buccaneers right now.
Okay.
Next up, we have our first international game. The New York Jets at, quote-unquote, at Minnesota Vikings. But this, of course, is being played in London. So if you want to check this one out, you've got to tune in at 9:30 in the morning, Sunday morning. Rich, will you be one of the few waking up bright and early to catch the pregame?
I don't know about bright and early, but I'll tell you what, I think this is another interesting betting opportunity. With the Vikings being 4-0 and coming off of that big win against the Packers, I would have thought the Vikings would be a heavy favorite going into this game. I think the point spread is only -2.
Yeah, it's very close, -2.5
I mean,
now.
I know everyone says Aaron Rodgers is used to playing, overseas, but so is Sam Darnold. That's not a thing. Unless you're talking about a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, they're used to playing these games. That's not a thing that's only for Aaron Rodgers. And the Jets just look feeble. They put up 9 points against the Broncos.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. There's some teams you just look at and you're just like, there's something wrong that we don't know about. Eagles, and I think another one is the Jets. There's something wrong going behind the scenes with the Jets. For the Vikings only being a 2-point favorite, take the Vikings. I like that. I like that point spread. I'm taking them in the London game.
Yeah, I liked the Vikings last week, and they came out strong against Green Bay, narrowly beating them. But you look at some of the Jets matchups, you alluded to this, they barely... they lost to Denver. They barely won against the Tennessee Titans, right? Meanwhile, on the other side, the Vikings have bested the Packers, the Texans, and the 49ers, all teams expected to go deep into the playoffs in their respective conferences. I think the Vikings might be the real deal. I think Sam Darnold's having a little bit of like a revenge tour.
Also, yeah, by the way, this is a revenge spot for Sam Darnold.
It is, yeah.
He got drafted by the Jets.
Yeah, so again, I just think that the incentive is there for the Vikings. That is a very tough division. They have to stay ahead as much as they can, get every single win they can. It's going to be very tight in the NFC North. I think this could be a win for them to further solidify their place at the top of the NFC.
Yeah.
So I like Vikings.
Yeah, I'm surprised the point spread's that thin.
Yeah. Good betting advice from Rich over here. Next up, we have two top AFC teams. The Buffalo Bills are traveling to Houston to face off against the Texans. These should be two of the best teams left remaining at the end of the season. Who do you like in this matchup?
Oh, man, yeah, this is tough. This one is the one I had.
You want to talk
struggling.
about close point spreads right now? It's -1 for
Yeah.
Buffalo. And this is pretty much a coin toss.
Yeah, I could see this going either way. It's hard to go against the Bills, but I really do feel like the Texans are the more complete team. C.J. Stroud, he's a great quarterback. That offense, is going to get in rhythm. And their defense is holding up their end of the bargain as well. The Bills, I still can't trust. I still don't like Devin Singletary as their primary running back. I know he's had great games, but I don't know. I need to see more from him before I can elevate him to being like a true playmaker, like somebody I got to truly worry about in these matchups. And it's again, and I know Josh Allen is a big factor on his side of the ball as well, but I really like the Texans. I think they've got a story to tell here, and I think they've got something they want to prove out there on the field, being one of the best AFC teams this season. So I'm gonna go Texans.
Yeah, I just really like the Texans story, and I think I trust their skills positions players more than Buffalo lost. I can't even remember his name. Oh, what's his name?
They lost a lot of people. They lost.
Yeah, the wide receiver. Wasn't it Diggs?
Oh, well, Diggs got traded. Yeah,
he got traded. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, same difference. They don't have a lot of skills position
Well,
players.
Diggs is on the Texans. This is a revenge game for Diggs.
Oh yeah, it is. That's right.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah. So yeah, and last year the Bills were very hot and cold, very streaky. The Texans, they have a lot to prove with that young quarterback. They're looking to repeat that success from last year. I like the Texans at home. Going Texans as well.
I do too.
And finally, we have a classic cross-conference rivalry. The Dallas Cowboys are traveling to Pittsburgh to face off against the Steelers. This is a Sunday primetime game. Rich, do the Cowboys make any inroads here to taking the NFC East, or do they continue to falter?
I don't know. The Cowboys still, even though they had a big win, supposed big win over the Giants, they still did not look confident.
Yeah, but what's a big win against the Giants?
Right. By the way, oh my God, did you realize that neither the Giants or the Jets scored a touchdown at MetLife Stadium? They both had home games.
That's bad.
No, and none of the New York teams scored a touchdown.
That's the real loser in all this is New York fans.
Yes. 110,000 New York fans showed up at some point during this weekend.
0 touchdowns.
No touchdowns.
Wow.
So, going Steelers. Anyway, by the way, I don't have off on that topic.
I mean, honestly, for me right now, they say this Dallas offense is so vaunted, but I'm just not seeing it. They put up 20 points on the Giants. It's not really a vaunted offense.
Well, once you take away CeeDee Lamb, there's really nothing else they can fall back on.
It's like very high peaks, but very shallow, really.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the ball, the Steelers have one of the top defenses this year. I mean,
it's Mike Tomlin's bread and butter.
Yeah, I mean, they're just winning games based on defense. And not only that, but they're pairing it with a decent ground attack. The Cowboys rank dead last in rushing yards.
Yeah, they can't stop the run.
So you're right. You shut down CD, they can't fall back on their run. This defense should be able to handle them at home. I'm going Steelers as well. And there you go. The computer like clockwork every week. We wrap up Fantastic Four, and Rich's computer's like, I agree.
Microsoft wants to let you know that they agree with you, Mike.
Absolutely.
So there you go, our Fantastic Four picks for week number 5 of the NFL season. Oh, man. So there you go, folks. All of the NFL that we can get to. But we are not done the sports sampler yet because there are other news besides football. I know, Mike, this is one of the rare instances that we've got to talk about non-football things during the football season.
Yeah, it's okay, though, because the two very important topics.
Yes. It was a rough day for Philadelphia on Monday, not just because we were getting over that horrible Eagles game, but also because we lost 2 Philadelphia sports legends. First one was Dikembe Mutombo. It was announced that he passed away from issues with brain cancer at the age of 58. You either know him or you don't. The classic finger wag. No. Oh yeah, when he blocked shots. There was, oh my God, I was watching just highlights of that. There was a time where there was I forget what game it was, but there was a shooting guard trying 3 shots consecutively. And Mutombo just smack. Just like he was so dominant. Just you couldn't believe some of the things he was capable of. And he was just so tall and long, and just it always seemed like his hand was nearby blocking shots constantly.
I mean, one of the best defensive players during his time.
Yes. And it's a shame. I don't know how with Allen Iverson and Dikembe Mutombo, how this team did not win a ring at some point.
Man, and that was, I joked before the show, but, in all honesty, it was the last time that the Sixers were, I think, legitimately good. Like, I know we've
had a real threat going for a title run, yeah.
And unfortunately, we came up against the Lakers in the middle
Yeah.
of their dynasty in the early 2000s, but we did win one against them.
Yeah.
We didn't get swept, at least.
That is impressive, considering that was the
Shaq
year.
and Kobe?
That was but that year specifically, they were sweeping everybody.
Yeah.
They went 8-0, I think. They went 12-0. They went
I believe
12-0 all the way up until that finals, and we gave them their first loss.
I mean, it was Shaq and Kobe. I mean, literally 2 of the best players of all time.
Yeah.
And, we gave them a run for it, at least for a brief moment, and part of that was because of AI and, of course, Dikembe Mutombo. I loved Mutombo. He was, I mean, that team, that was probably the last time that I really followed the Sixers, was that early 2000s team. There's just so many great, iconic members on those teams. What I didn't realize, though, in, I guess, my childhood brain didn't realize, is that Dikembe Mutombo was only on the team for 2 years.
Yeah.
But he left his mark.
Yep.
And one of the things that impresses me about his career, he was an 8-time All-Star, but he never stayed with a team more than 3 or 4 years. Like, he was consistently good regardless of where he played.
That's talent.
And I think that's really impressive. Yeah.
That's talent. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what team I'm on. I'll still block your shot.
Yeah. So
3 times in a row if I have to.
Yeah. Oh, man. I mean, like a giant of a man in both stature and in legacy.
Yeah.
So and just far too young.
Yeah. It's a shame. We probably could do a whole segment on just Mutombo, but unfortunately we had an even bigger legend pass away after that news came out. Then it came out that Pete Rose died at the age of 83. And, I mean, all you got to say is he's still the record for most career hits. Simple as that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that'll ever be broken.
I mean, just etched himself
that
into
speaks to talent. That speaks to longevity. That speaks to and just being healthy and being able to play the majority of games throughout the year. I mean, I don't know if you'll see that ever again.
I mean, it's one of the hardest things in sports is consistency. You can have a fantastic single season or a stretch. How many players can you name off the top of your head where you remember like 1 or 2 really good seasons, but 17-time All-Star. All-time hits leader, 3-time World Series champion, like consistency. Consistently great.
And, of course, one with the Phillies in 1980.
Absolutely. Another player who I didn't, you don't realize, you don't think about it. A very brief stint with the Phillies, but obviously left his mark.
Yep. Of course, you got to mention the betting.
You have to.
Which is hilarious to me because I saw a tweet that went viral that said, I went to ESPN to check whether or not Pete Rose died, and I got interrupted by an ad for ESPN Bet.
Yeah. DraftKings, FanDuels, and how many of these sporting events are actually sponsored by these
Sports books, yeah.
Sports books, yeah. That being
We
said,
now have 3 teams in Las Vegas.
yeah, and they're going to get their 4th event. It's only a matter of time.
Like, that would have been unheard of 30 years ago.
Yeah. That being said, do you think that MLB posthumously inducts him into the Hall of Fame? I mean,
At this rate,
it would be such a disservice.
at this rate, you didn't do it while he was alive. You know,
You think just never?
I don't. I guess it depends on who the future commissioners will be.
That is
'Cause
just.
I think
insane.
for right now with Manfred, he's very much he has an open mind, but he's still very much trying to preserve the legacy of past baseball
Right.
as well. I don't think he'll do it. Now, maybe if you have an more open-minded commissioner coming down the road,
Yeah, at some point.
that might help his case out. But honestly, at this point, you didn't do it when he was alive. It's gonna be kind of viewed as too little, too late.
Yeah, and I mean, history does back up what you're saying because Pete Rose did petition to
multiple
come off
times.
the ineligible list 5 times.
Yeah.
The last one in 2022, and still after all that time, it was a no-go.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think it'll happen unless we get a commissioner that wants it to happen.
Yeah, or like
So-
a crazy amount of time has passed, like maybe another 2 decades. And they're like,
Yeah.
what does it matter now?
Right.
So again, just huge losses for the sports world and for Philadelphia sports fans specifically.
Yeah. It was very much sad to see that as a Philadelphia fan, see these 2 legends pass away. So rest in peace to those 2 Philadelphia legends. All right. And one more thing that we need to, I guess, bury the hatchet on, and that is the fact that we had Futility Watch activated. The Futility Watch is officially over, and we have the results. The Chicago White Sox, we kept an eye on them throughout this whole season. We would check in on them every now and then, and it is over, folks. The nightmare is over if you're a White Sox fan. They finish with a record of 41 and 121. That's 121 losses, the most losses of a modern Major League Baseball team.
Oh, no! We suck again!
Oh, boy, did they suck. They sucked constantly.
It's just absolutely insane. That puts their winning percentage at just .253. I mean, they're only winning a quarter of their games. That's just historically bad.
Yes. If you will, I've put together kind of a nice little timeline of everything that happened this season.
I know. I saw. I was very impressed. So take us through
Yeah, let's
a
relive.
season of the White Sox.
Let's relive.
You're a
Yeah.
Chicago fan. You wake up at the beginning of baseball season. You're ready.
Oh, good for you!
You're ready for spring training. You're like, got your little baseball cap on. You're like, let's go to the ballpark. I'm ready to see my White Sox. And Rich, how does the season start?
All right, so they started out the season 3-22, which is the worst season start by any MLB franchise in 30 years.
I'm upset that the Eagles are 2-2. If I saw a team go 3-22, I would literally pack up and move to a different city. That is just egregiously bad.
Oh, Mike, we're just getting started.
We're just getting started.
That's only the first 25 games.
So what happens in the next batch of games?
So then in May and June, they had a 14-game losing streak, which at that time was their new franchise record for the longest losing streak, right?
Yeah.
But then in July and August, they say, hold my beer, and they lose 21 games.
Oh, man. That is...
Two different times in the same season, they set the franchise record for longest losing streak.
That is just gut-wrenching.
It's about to get all stupid up in here!
That's ridiculous.
But maybe the All-Star break could give them a little bit of relief, right?
Oh, you're starting to sound like the Eagles. Like, oh, maybe the bye week will help us.
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe they could turn it around.
Well, no, because heading into the All-Star break this season, they had the most losses ever by a team. They sat at 27 and 71 losses in the first half of the season.
That's just so demoralizing. Like I don't know how you're like, oh, I'm going to take a quick break from work. Like you've been getting battered for like months straight. Any break you take is. I'm surprised they came back.
It's the sweet relief of peace.
I would have retired. I would have used that opportunity to literally retire from the sport at that stage.
Well, hitting the pavement continues. The hole keeps getting bigger because then they were the fastest to guarantee themselves a losing season. By July 30th, they already had their 82nd loss. So there you go. You already knew that there's no coming back now.
No, you're done. August, and you're already.
No, not even August.
Oh no, July.
July
yeah,
30th.
The very last day, or almost the last day of July. You're already out of it. And because of that, I'm jumping in for you here. They fired their manager finally at 28 and 89.
Yep.
Yikes.
By the way, just keep. I specifically mentioned like the records here.
Right.
Notice how there's like no like winning streaks. It's always
No.
like 1 win, 10 losses. 1 win, 15 losses.
Well, that's what happens when you're only winning 1 out of 4.
It's ridiculous.
This is, and everything you've mentioned is like history making the worst start of the season in decades. The 2 longest losing streaks. The most losses heading into the All-Star break. Fastest to a losing season. Like it's like they're setting records, but in the worst way possible.
Yep. Up next, the fastest to be eliminated from playoff contention.
Again, another record.
In the divisional era. They were eliminated on August 17th, their record being 30 and 94.
Jesus. God, that's awful.
Yep.
And
And
the
then
hits keep coming, or don't,
Yep.
I guess.
And then this is the one we definitely talked about on the podcast. They already hit 100 losses on August 25th, which is the fastest to 100 losses. Fun fact, the 1960 Philadelphia Athletics held that record. So there you go.
Hey,
104 years old. It was finally time for that one to fall.
and
One-
luckily that doesn't
100
belong to us. No,
No,
108.
108. Sorry, I can't do math.
That is a-
108. Yeah.
That is a long record.
Yeah, the whole that long.
Man, we're glad to be not the top of that list anymore.
Take that. And then just for the hell of it, they had another 12-game losing streak in September, which makes them the first team since the 1965 Mets to have 3 different double-digit losing streaks in the same season.
That's 60 years. The first team in 60 years. There's franchises that haven't been around 60 years.
Yep.
Oh my God.
But you know what? I guess you can say there might be light at the end of the tunnel because they actually finished the season winning 5 of their last 6. So they finished better than the Mets by 0.3 of a percentage point. So they are not they're not percentage-wise the worst team in the modern era. But
Hey, that's something.
yeah,
Good
that's
job.
Good.
White Sox.
Good job. But they do go down this season. The 2024 Chicago White Sox will go down for the most losses of a modern Major League Baseball team. Embarrassing.
And 5th worst winning percentage since the turn of the last century.
Yes.
That's remarkable.
Yeah. I know. I feel like we should have some sort of anti-victory celebratory parade
Like
or something.
like a reverse championship. Well,
Yes.
wait, the Cleveland Browns did that when the team went 0-16. They had like a parade.
This is the closest you're going to get to an 0-17, 0-16 season in baseball. This is ridiculously low. So you better pull out all the stops in Chicago if you want to celebrate this.
Yeah,
unless you're planning on losing 130 games.
No, I mean this is the equivalent of going back in the day 4-12 for an NFL team. That is really bad.
But this is worse in baseball. Baseball,
Yeah.
there is much more variance. You have 162 games.
It's really hard to lose that many games.
It's
I think.
supposed to be hard to lose 100 games.
Yeah.
And this team is putting up 121 losses.
You never see teams with 120 wins.
Yes, exactly.
It's like the depths of suctitude that they reached
Yes.
is
Amazing.
literally historical.
Yes. So we honor dishonor this season. I don't know how you want to put it.
We
but
honor their dishonor.
you know what? We honor through Rich's Futility Watch.
Yes.
That's the correct response.
They
here.
win the Futility Watch Championship. Every year we should have a Futility Watch Championship and crown one team in one of the 4 major sports as the suckiest sucked that ever sucked that year.
Well, I think the answer this year is the Chicago White Sox because I don't think anybody's going to touch that.
Congratulations, Chicago White Sox. You won Rich's Futility Watch Award.
Good job.
You have to pay your own shipping and handling.
Yeah, if you want
just to rub it in.
Right, if you actually want to collect the trophy, we're going to have to
Hey,
charge
these things
you.
aren't free, all right?
Yeah, we're going to have to charge you for that. So, there you go. Any other notes you want to mention cuz this is just so bizarre.
No, I think we need to get the sour taste of sports out of our mouths.
Yeah,
It was a very bad sports week.
It was not a good sports weekend.
Literally every subject was bad.
Yeah. But at least the last one was Chicago. That wasn't us.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So you know what? Mike's right. We need to take a break and get this stink out of our mouths. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the entertainment entree and the non-fortune cookie odd news here on the Crispy Noodle Podcast. We'll be right back.
Ready for the weekend? Happy Friday. Hi, my name's Marie, and I'm an artist who's been making Happy Friday doodles every week for over 7 years. And now you can own my art collection in this Volume 1 and Volume 2 art series. These doodles span across multiple themes, yearly festivities, various countries, languages, and more. Both coffee table books have something for everyone and are the perfect conversation starter or gift for a friend. Really, anyone who enjoys a good weekend. Available on Amazon, Ingram, BookBaby, Barnes & Noble, and more. Visit happyfridaydoodles.com/books and get your copies today. Let's celebrate the best day of the week. Happy Friday.
Just a moment. You just assured me that I could speak.
Sit down inside the car. We're not assuring anything. We're under arrest.
Look, I'm under what? Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest. Have a look at the headlock here. See that chap over there? Get your hand off my penis! This is the bloke who got me on the penis before.
Get some cups.
Why did you do this to me?
Hop in the car. Get some cups.
For what reason? What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? Oh, that's a nice headlock, sir. Oh, yes. I see that you know your judo well. Good one. And you, sir, are you waiting to receive my limp penis? Now, get your hands off me.
No, we've only got one cup.
Ta-ta and farewell.
That's all right. Just get him in the car.
One cup, look. They even broke.
Yeah, we're back here on the Crispy Noodle Podcast. You know, it's funny. I'm playing the WrestleMania Classic theme there.
Yeah.
And I'm watching the new Mr. McMahon documentary on Netflix. It's pretty good.
Okay.
It's one of those, like, if you know wrestling history, you're probably not going to be too astounded by the information that comes out in it. But like if you
what happens if you don't?
If you're like a kind of like a fair weathered fan and you don't know like the ins and outs, then the documentary's for you on Netflix. So I would recommend it. Yeah, if you're interested in any of it.
How recent are they? Because they had a lot of McMahon had a lot of issues recently, right?
Yeah, and they make a note of it too. Is
they
like
do?
we shot this interview. We shot all these interviews before the allegations came out. Yeah.
Oh man. They'll have to do a part 2.
Yeah, they'll have to do a follow-up, man.
Yeah.
Which you can do on Netflix. You can,
Yeah.
you can, So wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility, but nevertheless, would recommend if you're a mild fan of wrestling and you want to learn more about it. All right, but now let's get into the second part of our show, the entertainment entree.
And now, the latest in movies.
The Simpson guy writes to movies. Dear Die Hard, you rock. Especially when that guy was on the roof.
Music.
I know what that is. That's music.
Video games.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
Celebrities.
You really know Warren Beatty?
Yes, I do. I took a leak next to him once at the Golden Globes.
And more.
You were the all-singing, all-dancing crap of the world.
This is the entertainment entree.
All right, officially in entertainment entree mode. And we're going to kick it off with the segment where Mike is going to let you know what you should keep an eye out for this upcoming week with new movies, TV, and video games. It's time for Mike's This Week in Entertainment. All right, Mikey, what do you got for the people?
First up in movies, a big one this week, Joker Folie à Deux hits theaters this week. It's the follow-up to the popular Joker film from 2019. This entry is a musical thriller. You did not hear that wrong. It is a musical with Lady Gaga joining the cast as Harley Quinn. Despite the success of the first movie, the extra star power, and the unique genre twist, critics have not been receiving this movie particularly well. It's only gotten 64% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it has a 54 out of 100 on Metacritic. But I'm still curious. I want to know how they pull off a psychological superhero musical thriller. Like what is that?
Yeah,
that's been my big question. Rich, are you excited for Joker Folie à Deux?
I'm interested to see how they do it, but it does seem like it's kind of too much themes.
Is it reaching too much?
Yes, it seems like it's too much genre salad.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But
we'll see. I'm a little disappointed by the reviews, but if you like the first one and you're curious like me about Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn, like that, to me, I'm like, that might be worth watching and checking out.
Yep.
Go check it out. It's hitting theaters this week. In television, The Franchise, speaking of superheroes, is a new comedy coming to HBO and Max this Sunday from an all-star production team. It's made up of people who worked on Veep, Succession, and Skyfall. Like, woo! What a combination.
Yeah.
The show is set behind the scenes of a superhero movie following the crew of a quote-unquote unloved entry in an MCU-like franchise. And I think that's a really unique concept. Like, follow the production crew of like Ant-Man. Like, what is it like to work on a film in a massive franchise that people are not going to like? Kind of like workplace comedy, superhero, behind the scenes kind of thing. So I'm definitely interested. There's no reviews out right now, but it looks like it could be pretty unique. Go check out The Franchise on HBO and Max. And finally, in video games, yes, we do have at least one spooky thing for spooky season. Until Dawn, the remake version, comes to PlayStation 5 and PC this week. It takes the classic PlayStation 4 game and updates it with new content and story moments, updated visuals, animations, and score, new camera controls and interactions, and extra collectibles. So lots of updating and polishing and actual new content as well. The original was a thrilling, terrifying, and unique experience. I thought it was a fantastic game. It keeps you on the edge of your seat the entire time with every decision you make. It has that, that butterfly effect mechanic where it shows you how the different things branch off. I don't know that I'll get back into it for the high price tag. I think it's like $50 for the remake.
Ooh,
especially after you've already played the first one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's enough to get me to slap down another $50.
Yeah, how much new content? How much do you need the new visuals? But if you have not played it yet and you have a PlayStation 5 or PC, definitely pick it up and check it out this Halloween season. I think it's a fantastic spooky game that everybody can get behind, and a good one for significant others to watch while you play as well.
Yes.
So that's Until Dawn, the remake version, hitting PlayStation 5 and PC this week, and that's what we're looking forward to this week in entertainment.
All right, Mikey, thank you for that segment. This Week in Entertainment. All right, we had a big trailer drop, so it's time for some trailer talk.
Oh, yeah.
The Last of Us Season 2 dropped last week, their trailer.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
the first thing I noticed was they know what they're doing. They're playing up that guitar angle.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, which is...
Should we play the spoiler?
Yeah, are we
going to
get in the spoilers?
I think we got to the way we want to talk about it.
Okay, so
for season 1 and the game of part 2.
Okay, so definitely spoiler territory.
It's a spoiler! Woo! It's a spoiler! Don't listen! Go away!
There you go. You've officially been warned.
And what a warning. But yeah, the trailer. See, now we can't even talk about the serious stuff because now we're just giggling.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. It is a good sound effect. But yeah, you want to talk about the guitar? Let's talk about it.
Yeah. That's definitely they're going to use that to try and connect all of the things that are going to happen to Ellie and
I mean, they definitely know what they're doing, and I think having Neil Druckmann as part of the production and writing team, like I'm rewatching the first season right now, and just going back to those early episodes, I'm like, damn, like it's just so good.
Yeah,
it's so freaking good, and I'm watching it with one of my younger cousins who had never played the games, and was watching the show for the first time, and like it's good when a non-game player is like, wow, like I'm really enjoying this.
So I have a group of cousins, and they were video gamers, but they're older than me, so they kind of fell out of video games. When you probably like around, I guess, the PlayStation 2 era, they probably started.
Oh man, that was a few generations ago.
Yeah,
you guys got to get together and get them some PlayStation 4s and 5s for Christmas or something.
Yeah, it happens.
It happens. Yeah,
life. Yeah. So they definitely were not playing The Last of Us,
right?
But they watched the series, and got hooked into it.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just like the little rascal in the back, being like, "Oh, you have no idea what's coming down the pike."
You're the fly on the wall, just like not watching the show, just watching them. Like
yeah. Wait till you see what's coming up.
But the guitar. I mean, the guitar is a key symbol throughout part 2.
Yeah.
Right. It's a gift that Joel gives to Ellie. Something that the final moments of the game. There's very impactful scenes there.
Yeah.
Man, Peter, I'm just like I'm getting chills just thinking about the whole thing. Like it is absolutely going to destroy people.
Yeah.
Like any series that you've watched on HBO where you're like I have steeled myself for the emotion. No, you haven't.
Here's my question.
Yeah.
So how well do you think they're going to stick by the storyline of the second game? Because you are dealing with TV logic here.
You are.
And we know that someone's death is coming.
Yeah. I don't think that they pull any punches.
I know we played the spoiler effect, but I don't even want to say it.
I know.
In case somebody
in case somebody is still listening, we played the spoilers. It's your own fault. I won't say anything either, but you're right. There is a significant departure.
Yes.
I don't think that they pull any punches. I think that we see a significant number of flashbacks.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's a segment of the game I'm really looking forward to seeing realized on the television screen where certain characters are exploring a museum together.
Yes.
That's an entire episode.
Okay.
I think that's an entire episode. I think that up until the departure, that's probably like a solid... I think that's like 2 episodes. I don't know that they do it straight away. I think that you wait.
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
Thank God Neil Druckmann was able to pitch this to HBO.
Right.
Because I think HBO has the power and the story authority.
Are you thinking they
hold on to their integrity to this?
Yeah.
If this was on like ABC, NBC,
Oh yeah,
AMC, something with a network that was going to pressure them to change the story.
Somebody who's got ads to sell.
That this departure would not happen the way it would.
Yeah, I am confident that they will stick to the story because being a fan of the Game of Thrones franchise, rip. Well, they departed, but they didn't shy away from hard character departures.
You know what I'm gonna reference?
What?
So you're finding your comfort in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I'm finding my comfort in Succession.
Okay. Oh,
They
yes.
were willing to kill. Yeah.
Yeah. Season 4. Yeah.
Yep. They knew he had to.
I think it's going to happen like that
yeah.
for the viewers. I
hope you guys are reading all the in your windows. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, if you haven't seen the shows, then
if
I guess
you haven't
you're not.
seen them, right?
But
yeah.
if you have seen it, you know exactly what we're talking about between all these properties.
You know exactly what we're talking about. You know exactly how suddenly these things happen. And I think that Last of Us Part 2 does it just as suddenly. I think that they're not going to do it at like the end of episode 1, I think is too obvious. I think it's going to happen like randomly in the middle of like episode 2.
Yeah.
I think like it's got to be shocking and sudden so that TV viewers who have not played the game, they're like, "Oh my god!" and they're like literally clutching the. Did I just shake the whole table with the camera?
Because the camera's over there. I don't
Sorry.
know. We'll have to check back the footage.
That's what I want it to be. I want it to literally rock people's worlds.
Yeah.
And I think that we have a pretty good opportunity to see that happen. A concern that I have, I want to get your opinion on this, Abby.
Yeah.
How do we do? How does it happen?
So here's my theory. They said that this is going to be split up into season 2 and season 3.
Yeah.
If I was Neil Druckmann, I would pitch this as season 1 is Joel's story.
Yeah.
Season 2 is Ellie's story. Season 3 is Abby's story.
Yeah.
I don't think you want to bum rush Abby right to the audience, because then people are going to be like, oh, that's too much. Who is this new character? I don't like it. But if you have her kind of building along in that second season,
yeah,
then kind of do the flip where she becomes the focal point. I think you do that in the third season. I think you can flow it. You can flesh it out better.
Are we leaning towards potentially 3 seasons for part 2?
No, I don't think you want to go 3 seasons.
You don't think there's enough there to switch back?
I don't think so.
Okay.
And also, hopefully by then, do you think they'd even do another Last of Us video game?
I heard that they're working on one.
Yeah, that's another.
So
thing too.
we need like a 4th season for whatever part 3 is of the video game.
I think you might need to consider that as part of the timeline as well.
Okay. Part 2 is a very big game. I'm just trying to think about how it splits up all the different. I mean, there's 3 distinct acts, right?
Yes.
And what you're referencing is like Act 2 and 3 in season 3.
Yeah.
Is that too much for season 3? We got a jumbo-sized season, like hour-and-a-half episodes. It's doable, right?
It's doable. I think it's doable, but I think you can still do it in one season as well.
Okay. I think at that point viewers are entrenched enough that they will follow it along. Like they'll be good with it. But yeah, I mean, I'm super looking forward to this upcoming season. It can't come soon enough. I want the museum portion as a single episode. I think we're going to get a lot of flashbacks to flesh out this season 2, and then we're going to get more action in season 3. And I'm just curious, like, I know there's a lot of controversy about the video game part 2. Do you think there's going to be significant changes to the story to perhaps mitigate some of that? I know they made some additions and changes to the first season compared to the first part of the game. Watching it back, I'm seeing changes to the Sam and Henry characters. I'm seeing more focus on like Fedra versus the Fireflies. Do you foresee or do you hope for any changes in season 2?
I don't hope for any drastic changes. But
it was like a 9 out of 10 game. I think
there will be changes because you got there's going to be some ways that aren't going to adapt directly to TV, right?
Right.
But
I mean sweeping narrative changes.
I don't think so. I think they should be able to run with the video games storyline.
I think so too. I feel like at times I was one of the few who liked the ending of The Last of Us Part 2. So, and I know we differed on that subject.
Yeah, the ending
has time dulled your...
The ending might be something I would maybe just change a couple things about.
So you would make,
But
changes.
that would be the variant. That's like the, to me, that's the end. That's the variant. That's your
Okay.
you're going into the last
That's
episode of the whole enchilada.
Yeah, that's the last episode of season 3. So we got time.
Yeah.
But season 2 specifically, they can follow pretty much beat for beat.
I think so.
Yeah, without making any drastic changes. I'm excited for this season. I'm excited for it to win Best Drama.
Yeah.
I'm calling it right now. And I said this to my cousin, the only reason season 1 didn't is because it was going up against Succession.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry.
I mean, literally, you put it up against. What other drama out there is going to stand toe to toe with season 2 of The Last of Us?
Yeah,
You can't name one. You can't name one.
Well, maybe there'll be a new one. You never know.
Oh, we can only hope.
Right, you never know.
But right now, it's all Last of Us season 2.
All right. Well, on that note, we need to get to a new episode of our favorite segment here in the Crispy Noodle Podcast, the non-fortune cookie odd news.
We've been talking about cool and its ramifications and how it applies to the hip scene. But maybe you could give us some examples now of the opposite of cool, uncool. Just exactly what is uncool?
My nipples look like milk duds.
Holy shnikes.
It's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
It's not of this world. I don't know exactly what it is or what it's doing, but this is not human intelligence, okay? It's not human intelligence we're facing!
How you doing? Me? I'm doing great.
Mandada basata. I don't make this stuff up.
I'll take a pound of nuts.
That's a lot of nuts! That'll be $4, baby! You want fries with that?
I seen the celery dance across the baseball fields.
You had me at Meat Tornado.
No, go past this part. In fact, never play this again.
Okay. What does that mean?
And now it's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news.
So sit back, get everything you need to get from the kitchen. Be sure and empty the bladders, go to the bathroom, because you're in for a hell of a ride.
Woo, odd news.
That's right, everyone. It's time for the non-fortune cookie odd news. Here in this segment, Rich researches the news, he reads the news, and I react to the news. He finds a weird and wacky story and keeps it hidden from me, which ensures that all of my reactions are my genuine gut reactions to hearing this story for the very first time. I don't know what's about to happen. You guys don't know what's about to happen. And even Rich doesn't know what's about to happen because these stories always take us down wacky and wild paths. And I'm ready to get started. Where are we heading to?
All right. Well, in this story, let's see. This is... Oh, of course. It's Florida. Why they...
Now, who is this guy in Florida?
It's Florida, and they're crazy.
Why did I even doubt myself?
You're like, where could it be from? Oh, I don't know. Oh, Florida.
Yeah, right? Why did I even doubt myself? So this is a Florida story here. And it happened on Sunday night.
Oh,
with an Italian family.
Oh no, Paisan.
I know. This is.
Oh, I'm immediately worried.
Right. This is the Flacco family.
I
don't know if they're related to Joe Flacco, who, by the way, you see, he came in for the game, won the game for the Colts.
He's a better quarterback as a backup at the age of 43 than he ever was as a starter.
Yeah, he comes in every now and then and wins a game.
Some guys are just built to nap on the sideline, come in strategically, win a game, and then go back to napping.
Yeah, so I don't think it's related to Joe Flacco.
Okay.
But just happens to be the same name here. All right, so this is Sunday night Italian dinner here.
All right.
Oh my
Sunday
gosh.
dinner.
How can you have a crime here like this?
Sunday dinner is sacred.
Yeah.
Amongst the Italian community.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know you love these stories, so
yeah.
This
Okay.
is right up your alley. 41-year-old Anthony Flacco had a verbal argument with his mother.
Oh, boy.
That started a spaghetti dinner food fight, according to cops. Yes, they're all...
Not the spaghetti.
I know.
What are you doing?
Yeah,
Come on. Some things are sacred. I just said it. It's sacred. You can't...
Yeah.
Can't be tossing your noodles around.
Yeah, come on. There's better things to throw than the pasta.
Yeah, right?
Yep. So the mother, who's 61 years old, owns the home.
Okay.
So this is literally like the traditional like 41-year-old Italian man hasn't moved out of his mother's house.
Yeah. Getting in the fight with mom and throwing some spaghetti.
Yeah.
No, not good.
Yeah. It reminds it's what was it? There's the dude in The Wolf of Wall Street, you know, Ma, when are we getting those cutlets? He's like 45. He's like, Ma.
Yeah. That's literally that.
When are those cutlets coming in?
Yeah.
This is literally this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it an argument about lack of cutlets?
Yeah, right. It probably was. I forget the John Berthal. It's his character in Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shane from The Walking Dead.
Yeah. Ma, where's those cutlets? I'm getting hungry over here.
That's probably what this argument was about.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, unfortunately, the cops don't mention what caused the incident, but at some
Just
point,
a verbal altercation that devolved into spaghetti throwing.
Yeah, at some point, Anthony Flacco got very angry and decided to start throwing spaghetti over the Sunday night dinner.
That's messed up.
Cops arrived on the scene and noted that many of the family members had spaghetti sauce in their hair. That's not going to get out very easy. How dare you?
God, that is such a mess. I can't even imagine.
There was a bit of a nastiness last night, yes? Some very extreme nastiness, yes? Yes.
This guy, he's 41 years old.
You resort to throwing
He starts a food fight. And apparently so much, he's so angry and so much food being thrown that it caused somebody to call the cops. His response was to run in the backyard and hide in a bush.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. That's your solution.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. You're wrong.
You know, the perception is the spoiled Italian prince, and this guy is not helping the stereotype.
This dude is acting like he's 4 instead of 41.
4 instead of 40, yeah. Throwing your spaghetti and then running away and hiding in a bush.
Oh, they won't find me in this bush. Oh, no.
Come on, man. You probably still have you're literally caught red-handed because you probably still have the sauce on your hands.
He's rubbing it in the grass.
Yeah, trying to wipe his hands off, yeah.
So police were just caught him. It's not like
there's a grown man hiding in a bush covered in pasta sauce.
Yeah, this isn't really that sophisticated of a getaway here.
No.
Dear God, this guy's such a moron.
Through all this though, I'm still more concerned about the loss of food.
Yeah, how dare you? This would have been a tasty Sunday dinner.
I don't know about you, but Sunday dinner was such a special, sacred thing for me growing up. You know, you get I don't know about you, but it was always like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Start the sauce. Yeah.
It was after Sunday Mass.
Yes.
But my grandmother, my nonna, she didn't go to Mass because she stayed back and she prepared the sauce with the meatballs and the sausage, and she had cutlets, and I mean, it was the whole 9 yards, you know? Like, it's supposed to be a thing that you do to bring everyone together. You share a meal. You're supposed to, spend hours talking and eating and talking and eating. This guy ruins that.
Yeah.
You know, it's very un-Italian of him.
Yeah.
He is not Paisano.
This freaking Flacco.
Yeah.
You wish you were Joe Flacco. This
Exactly.
is Anthony Flacco. Horrible. The other end of the spectrum. How dare this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. The freaking baby over here.
So
hide in a bush. Are you really
hiding in the bush?
Really? You couldn't run down the street or something? Like, come on.
Your main problem is the bush. If he had hit anywhere else, it would have been better.
Last week we had the dude falling out of the attic. At least that was a little more creative.
He tried.
Yeah. This dude just gave up in the bush.
He just ran out and the cops probably saw him diving into the bush. And they're like, oh, I wonder where he is. You know, like a kid. Oh, where did Anthony go? Where did Anthony go?
Yeah. Moron. All right. So, yeah, he was quickly apprehended by police.
Yep.
Not a very exotic hiding spot here.
No.
So he's sure. I guess it's mentioned in the police report. He's 5'6", 250 pounds. So yeah, he didn't do a good job hiding in the bush.
I don't think there's going to be many bushes being able to conceal him.
Yeah. He's not a twig.
No, certainly.
Yeah. So he was charged with domestic battery for the spaghetti incident, as well as resisting an officer. He was booked into the county jail on misdemeanor counts. According to the judge, he cannot contact his mother, so he's going to have to find his own place now.
Oh,
whenever,
no.
yeah, whenever he gets out, he's going to have to find his own place. And he will be allowed only a one-time visit to collect his belongings with the presence of law enforcement with him.
Damn. That's what you get for starting. I mean, look, everybody has verbal spats, right? But when it escalates to the point where you're assaulting people with spaghetti, like, that's a new low, you know?
Yeah. So this guy, I don't know what his deal is. He's acting like he's 4 instead of 41.
Very childish.
But I have one more fun fact for you on this dude, this Mr. Anthony Flacco.
Okay.
Boy, this guy, he's a winner. So it turns out that he actually has prior convictions.
Oh.
And just for the hell of it, I clicked on it.
Okay.
And I saw the following.
Okay.
Get ready.
Oh, boy.
So
is this like 2 odd news stories in one?
Kind of. Battery. Trespassing, violating a probation order.
Oh, man, he's batting 1,000.
And just for you, Mike,
oh, no.
I had to mention this.
Oh, God.
I don't think I've ever seen this before. Throwing a deadly missile into a building.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. You're wrong.
The probability on one 4-wheel machine is 1.5 million to 1. On 3 machines in a row, it's in the billions. It cannot happen. Would not happen. You Momo, what's the matter with you?
What's the matter with you?
Throwing a deadly missile. I know in this context, missile means just any throwable object, but it's just so funny to think.
Yes. Yes. But apparently in Florida, that is a separate charge. Throwing a deadly missile.
What was the deadly missile? It doesn't say.
It does.
Oh, it does?
This incident involved him being drunk at a party, and when he was asked to leave because he was being too loud, he grabbed several Heineken bottles and chucked them at people. Oh, my God.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. You're wrong.
This guy seems like a piece of work.
Yeah. But it does go down in the official records, in the police report, that he was convicted of throwing a deadly missile.
That makes it sound. I mean, don't throw stuff at people. It's bad, but to call it a deadly missile makes it sound way worse.
It's about to get all stupid up in here.
Yes, but
he's got battery.
I've never seen that charge on a police report before.
No, that's definitely a unique one.
Yeah.
A deadly missile. So
Deadly
he's got battery, deadly missiles,
violating probation.
Man, he's had a rough go of it, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It's because he's basically a 4-year-old stuck in a 40-year-old's body.
Apparently. He's causing food fights and throwing.
He should have tried throwing missizzles from the bushes.
Yeah.
That would have kept the cops at bay.
He should have had a little stash of missiles.
He should have pocketed some meatballs. And then while he's hiding in the bushes, he's throwing those deadly missile meatballs.
Yeah, missile meatballs.
Missile meatballs.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, that sounds yummy.
Your alliterations at work there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, this winter, he's gonna be on his own now because he can't.
Yeah, where's he gonna go to throw his deadly missiles at?
Yeah, he can't. Literally, it is a restraining order. He cannot have contact with his mother.
Could the spaghetti be considered a deadly missile?
Yeah.
Like, could they charge him later for throwing another deadly missile of the spaghetti?
That's a lot of missiles.
That's a lot of missiles.
You're gonna have to individually categorize every single pasta that was thrown.
Every single spaghetto.
Yeah. But no, I think domestic battery will do for that charge.
Okay.
But yeah. There you go. I never saw that charge before on a police
throwing
report.
A deadly missile.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I don't like it because it makes this guy sound cooler than he actually is. The idea of like throwing a missile.
Oh, what? He probably uses that for like street cred. Like
he's like, yeah. What are you in for? I threw some missiles. You're like, whoa, a missile. He's like, yeah,
I came across Iranian missiles. and I threw him.
I just had to chuck him. Right at the building.
Yeah. The Sheik was around, and I barred some missiles off of him, and they caught me.
Of course.
Yeah.
He's okay. Better than nothing.
Yeah, that's Sheik actually giving his endorsement to this dude, to Flacco.
He's okay. Better than nothing.
There you go.
And Florida's known for their love of missiles.
Yeah.
Because the classic odd news story we had of the guy driving a missile down the highway.
An actual missile.
Right, not like a
that one was not a euphemism for something. No,
an actual surface-to-air missile.
Yeah, in his BMW convertible or something.
Yeah, sticking out the roof. Yeah.
So
Floridians, they love their missiles. This guy could get a lot of street cred for talking about his missiles.
Yeah, whether you throw them or ride with them. Yeah, those Floridians, they love their missiles.
They love them. I don't know.
I'm pro missile.
I'm pro missile.
Where's the politician that's going to say I'm pro missile?
Yeah, we don't have enough pro missile politicians.
Yeah, what's happening there?
What a oversight.
Yeah, but anyway, to wrap it up, poor Flacco's mom. I don't know, Mrs. Flacco. Sorry, Mrs. Flacco.
He ruins dinner, gets pasta sauce all over the kitchen, and then gets arrested after throwing spaghetti at her.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, your darling boy is not living up to expectations.
Yeah, your Italian prince is not very princely.
No. So there you go. That's what I have for you in the non-fortune cookie odd news. I felt like that was like a story and a half.
It was, because it kind of like veered into additional stuff, but all under the same guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This Anthony Flacco. No relation to Joe Flacco.
No, thankfully.
Joe Flacco's elite. Anthony Flacco is 4 years old, apparently.
Yes.
Two different ends of the spectrum.
Yes, confirmed.
Yes. All right. Well, you know what? There you go. What a story to end us on. We got to start wrapping this up. If you like what you heard, folks, make sure you go to our website, thecrispynoodle.com. Make sure you follow us on all the social media, hubbabaloo. But most importantly, make sure you have a way to get the podcast sent to you. Two main ways to do that so you get it every week. First one is on YouTube. Go to our YouTube page, hit that subscribe button, and you'll get the episode sent to you every week. So you get our NFL picks, you get our entertainment news, and you get our wacky odd news every week. So make sure you do that on YouTube or on Spotify. We put the video podcast up on Spotify. And on Spotify, you can put Spotify on in the background and listen to us as an audio-only podcast. And using Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, you can take us on the go with you. So if you want to drive around with a missile in Florida or throw missiles
to your own, listen to the podcast as a soundtrack.
Right. We can be there right with you in your car on your commute to help soften the blow of traffic. Though I guess if you're throwing missiles, I guess everything is annoying you at that point.
I don't know if we can save you at that point.
Yeah, we can try.
We can certainly try. And if you need to get in touch with us individually to share your missile stories, you can find us individually on X, formerly known as Twitter. I'm at Mikey Costanzo, MikeyCostanzo.
Yeah, and I want missile stories. Yeah, I want more missile stories.
Send the missiles specifically to Rich.
Yeah, my handle is @RichLiebig, RichLiebig. Any odd news stories goes to me, not Mikey, so that Mikey doesn't know what's coming up. But if we use your story, we'll give you a sausage shout out. So definitely send your recommendations our way. And you never know, you might hear yourself on a future episode of the Crispy Noodle Podcast. But for right now, we got to wrap this one up. This has been the Crispy Noodle Podcast. Let us be the Crispy Noodle in your vegetarian salad of life and boring news. That'll do it. We'll see you guys next week.
See you guys.
Later. Bye-bye, all you fine peoples. Good night.
Some of us have great stories, pretty stories that take place at lakes with boats and friends and noodle salad. A lot of people, that's their story. Good times, noodle salad.